Chapter 5. What's an indication? In our last chapter, we embarked on a journey through the various methods and techniques used to detect flaws and imperfections in materials and components. From the tried and true to the cutting edge, we saw how NDT professionals use a wide array of tools to peer inside the very structure of matter itself. But as any seasoned NDT pro knows, detecting a flaw is only half the battle. The real challenge lies in interpreting what those flaws mean and determining whether they pose a threat to the safety and integrity of the material or component. And that's where indications come in. In the world of NDT, an indication is like a red flag, a sign that something isn't quite right. It's a signal or response detected during an inspection that suggests the presence of a discontinuity or inconsistency within the material. The indication might be a signal on a screen, or a bit of fluorescent ink on the surface of the part, or any number of indications that something might be wrong with the item. But here's the thing. Not all indications are created equal. Some might be false alarms caused by equipment glitches or operator error. Others might be harmless anomalies that don't affect the material's performance or safety. And still, others might be serious defects that require immediate attention and repair. It's up to the NDT technician to interpret these indications and determine their significance. Are they true defects or just noise in the system? Are they relevant to the material's intended use or just minor imperfections? These are the questions that keep NDT pros up at night. True vs. false indications. Let's start with the basics. True and false indications. A true indication is like a smoking gun. It's a clear and unambiguous sign of a real discontinuity or defect within the material. When an NDT method detects a true indication, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's something fishy going on. False indications, on the other hand, are like mirages in the desert. They might look real at first glance, but upon closer inspection, they dissolve into nothingness. False indications can be caused by a variety of factors, from equipment malfunctions to operator error to material variations that mimic the appearance of defects. False indications can be thought of as a fault of the NDT process itself, when the technician has not done the job quite right. Telling the difference between true and false indications is where the real skill and experience of an NDT technician comes into play. It's like being a detective, sifting through the clues and red herrings to uncover the truth. Relevant vs. non-relevant indications. But even if an indication is true, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. This is where the concept of relevant and non-relevant indications comes in. A relevant indication is like a ticking time bomb. It's a true defect that poses a real threat to the safety or performance of the material or component. These are the indications that keep engineers and managers up at night, the ones that require immediate attention and corrective action. Non-relevant indications, on the other hand, are like harmless quirks. They're real discontinuities or variations in the material, but they don't affect its intended use or pose any danger. These might include things like minor surface scratches, inherent material variations, or even intentional features like logos or identification marks. Distinguishing between relevant and non-relevant indications is a critical skill for NDT technicians. It's not enough to just find the flaws. You have to be able to assess their significance and potential impact on the material or component's performance. A good reference diagram is available in the lecture notes. It shows a breakdown of how indications are classified in the world of NDT. As you can see, an indication can be either true or false, and a true indication can be further classified as either relevant or non-relevant. So there you have it, folks, a crash course in the wild world of NDT indications. From true and false to relevant and non-relevant, these little red flags are the bread and butter of the NDT profession. But the real magic happens when you combine the power of indications with a deep understanding of the material's properties and behavior, and that's where our next chapter comes in. A sneak peek at Chapter 6. In Chapter 6, we'll take a deep dive into the structure of matter itself, exploring the fundamental building blocks that make up the materials we work with every day. From atoms and molecules to crystals and grains, we'll see how the microscopic structure of a material can have a profound impact on its macroscopic like atomic bonding, crystal structure, and grain boundaries, and see how these factors can affect everything from a material's strength and toughness to its susceptibility to corrosion and fatigue. We'll be shrinking down to the atomic level and exploring the fascinating world of materials science. It's going to be a wild ride, but trust me, the view from the bottom is